Hey everyone, this is a tutorial on adding and subtracting integers. Okay, this will show you how to do it, any combination of positive and negative integers, and how to add and subtract them. Remember that integers are the set of numbers that include every positive whole number and their opposites. Okay, these would be the negative numbers. So all of these numbers are counting numbers, right? Whole numbers all the way up forever in the to the right here, as well as every one of its opposite, okay, into the negative direction here to the left. 0 is an integer as well. It's a special one because it has no value, but it is considered an integer. Keep in mind there's no decimals and there's no fractions. Okay, only whole numbers can be considered integers. Okay, so we're not using any decimals, there's no fractions at all. Okay, so here's some examples of integers. Okay, I just threw some random numbers together. We got -3, we got 14, we got -200, 3,123, -278, 0 is there, -7,865, and 5. You'll notice these positive numbers, we don't put a plus sign in front of them. We don't have to, okay? In math, if there's no sign in front of it, we assume it's positive, okay? So these are just some examples of integers. Okay, so this method I'm going to show you, it works for any combination of positive and negative integers, okay? Any combination. It also works for both addition and subtraction, okay? So this is perfect. This is what we're doing right now, so this method works. So for any add or subtract integer question that you are given, you can use this method, okay? So here's some examples of questions that you can solve using this method. +3 minus -2, okay? -5 plus +8, and so on, okay? So questions that look like this with integers, two integers, and we're either adding or subtracting them, okay, you can use this method. Okay, the method. It uses the concept of temperature, and we will relate each integer to the weather outside, okay? For every question, you need to look at it in 3 parts. Okay, part 1. So part 1 is the first integer is always the current temperature outside. Okay, so in this first example here, the current temperature is +3 degrees outside. Okay, this next example, the current temperature is -5, and then we've got -12. And +4 degrees. Okay, so first step, look at the question. The first integer is the current temperature outside. Okay, that's the first part. Next part. Part 2, Mother Nature is either adding or taking away heat or coldness. Okay, so in this example, the current temperature is +3 outside, and Mother Nature is now taking away something, okay? Over here, the current temperature is -5. Mother Nature is adding something, okay? Taking away and adding, okay? So the part 2 is just basically looking at the sign in between and deciding what she's doing. She's either taking away stuff or she is adding something, okay? But that concept of the first integer being the current temperature is still there as well. Okay, that's part 2. Part 3. Part 3 is the second integer is heat or coldness depending on its sign. So the second integer, if it's a positive integer, we would consider it to be heat, okay? If it's a negative integer, we would consider it to be coldness, okay, or cold. So in this question, the second integer is negative, so that tells us we're dealing with cold. Okay, same with here, -9 degrees, -2 degrees. Over here, because they're positive, we're talking about heat. So this is heat, and this is heat. 8 degrees of heat, and 10 degrees of heat. Okay, again, so that's the third part. So this being the original temperature is still part of the equation here. Okay, and then Mother Nature is taking away, all right, or she's adding. Okay, so those are the three parts. The first part is the current temperature. The second part is what is Mother Nature doing, either subtracting or adding. And the third part is telling us what she's adding or subtracting, okay, or adding or taking away. And the sign of it tells us whether it's coldness, okay, if it's a negative integer, or if it's heat, if it's a positive integer, okay? So let's summarize these examples here. Okay, so in the first question that we saw, it was +3 minus -2. So what this means is, with the three parts all combined here, the current temperature is the current temperature is +3, and Mother Nature is taking away, because it's subtract, 2 degrees of coldness. Okay, for this example, the current temperature is -5, and she's adding 8 degrees of heat. In the next two examples, current temperature is -12, and she's taking away coldness, 9 degrees of coldness. And in this one, the current temperature is +4 degrees, and she is adding 10 degrees of heat. Okay? Now, once you've got these in your head, these three parts in your head, it just becomes a question of solving for, like, what would the final temperature be after these things have happened. Okay? So let's take a look here. First question, it's +3 outside, and she took away coldness. So if it was +3 degrees, and Mother Nature took away coldness, if you take away coldness, you've warmed up, right? So the new temperature would be 2 degrees warmer than the original temperature of +3. So +3 take away 2 degrees of coldness. The answer to this is +5. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So it's -5 outside, and she added heat, 8 degrees of heat. So if the temperature was -5 outside, and then it increased 8 degrees, the final temperature would be +3, right? And we know from a thermometer, just looking, and in Edmonton here, we've got these temperatures all the time. If it was -5 in the morning, when you got to school, and the temperature went up 8 degrees, warmed up 8 degrees, the final temperature would be +3 degrees, right? Let's take a look down here. It's -12, and she took away coldness. So if she takes away coldness, it warmed up 9 degrees from the original temperature of -12. So that would give us -3. And over here, the last example, +4 plus +10. If it's 4 degrees outside, and she adds 10 degrees of heat, it went up 10 degrees. So it started at 4, it went up 10 degrees, so +14. Okay? You can solve any integer question using this method. Original temperature, what's Mother Nature doing, and if it's positive or negative, it'll tell us if it's heat she's adding or taking away, or if it's coldness that she's adding or taking away. So let's try some more examples here. Okay. You can pause the video, and maybe everyone can give it a try here, and then when you come back, I'll explain all 8 of these. Okay, let's go through it. First, we've got -3 outside, and she added coldness, 9 degrees of coldness. If she added 9 degrees of coldness to an original temperature of -3, it went down to -12. Okay, next one. It's -2 outside, and she took away 11 degrees of coldness. Again, it's this weird combo of she took away coldness. That means it warmed up, right? If you add coldness, right, like in this first example, it gets colder and went down to -12. But if she takes away coldness, that means it's the same thing as warming up. So if it started at -2 and warmed up 11 degrees, that means it went to +9. Okay, next one, started at 20 degrees, again, took away coldness. So if it warmed up 3 degrees from 20, then we've got +23. Next one, it's 2 degrees outside, and she added coldness. So it went down 5 degrees, but it started at +2. So if it's +2 outside, and the temperature got 5 degrees colder, it went down to -3. Next one, -4, adding more coldness. That means it got colder, 2 degrees colder than -4. It's an easy one, it just went down to -6. Next one, -9, and again, took away coldness, so it warmed up 6 degrees from an original temperature of -9. So if it's -9 outside, and the temperature went up or warmed up 6 degrees, we're now at -3. This one, +13 minus -10, okay? Warmed up 10 degrees. That's going to be +23. And this last one here, +7 plus 1 degree of coldness. So if you add coldness, the temperature goes down. So this is going to be +6. And that is how you add and subtract integers using the Mother Nature method, and it works for any combination of integers, and it works if we're adding or subtracting. It does not matter. Works every time. Okay, I just wanted to do a few more examples here. Top one here, -7, she took away heat. If she takes away heat from this original temperature, that means it went down 3 degrees. So our answer here is going to be -10. Okay, next one across. -11, she took away coldness. So if she takes away coldness, it warms up. So if it started at -11 and it warmed up 4 degrees, it's now at -7. Next one, 7 degrees outside. She added coldness, 6 degrees of coldness to 7. Okay, it started at +7, then it went down 6 degrees. So our answer is +1. Next one, 16 degrees, added heat, just went up. That's an easy one. That's just 16 plus 3, which would be +19. -5, she took away heat, so that means it got colder. Okay, she took away heat, it got colder. So -5, 10 degrees colder, -15. And the last one here, -2, she took 5 degrees of heat away, that means it got colder again. So it went 5 degrees colder than -2, so we're down to -7. Okay, so that is how we add and subtract integers. Again, it works for any combination of plussing or minusing and positive and negative integers. Works every time. Bye now.